A worker was fired for not having their mother's death certificate soon enough to prove they needed time off.
I just found the most toxic red flag everywhere job listing.
So I'd have to go over 2 years without any time off.
Oh man. I thought it'd be fun to go over some of the modern day job listings in this market because it was so much fun the last time I made this kind of video, but I do think it's funny researching this kind of video how quickly I was able to find all of the content for this video. It wasn't like I was searching high and low for hours on end on the internet. Just instantly video after video showing insane demands, non-stop posts from all over the internet, showing how crazy some of these companies' listings actually are. So we're going to be going over some videos. We have postings. We have some experiences from you guys in the comments. So if you want to be featured in a future video, leave your comments down below. But we're just going to start off with the classic overwork and underpaid.
I just found the most toxic red flag everywhere job listing, and I have to share it. Okay, I won't tell you what the company is, but I am reading word for word from their job listing. If you get overwhelmed easily and your life is a mess, this isn't for you. If you're looking for a cushy job with tons of time off, healthcare benefits, ping pong tables, and the ability to switch off when you leave the office, this isn't for you. Working at requires you to be a winner, not a whiner. We're looking for high performers who are so effective, they can do the work of 2 people without breaking a sweat. What? You want me to do the work of 2 people? I have to work 24 hours, 7 days a week, and I may or may not even get health benefits. The salary isn't even listed. I kind of want to report it. Should I report it? I know there are workaholics out there and that might resonate with some people, but the sad part for me is that there are 68 applicants for this job already.
So, I mean, they're completely open about it, and there are almost 70 people willing to work there. Now, I will give them credit. They said all of this in the job listing, and a lot of other companies will hide this behind a fast-paced work environment and being a family, and a lot of these jobs will have these similar demands, but they'll hide it. They won't actually tell you, so at least this one did, but it doesn't make it any better, especially hiding the salary. If they don't have the salary up there, you know you're going to get lowballed, and if you got to be on the clock 24/7, I better be making a good amount of money, and I don't think that's the case here. We have a comment from one of you guys. My favorite is a job listed as remote, but if you read into the details, it tells you the job is in office and is 100% on site. False advertising at its finest. And I think another similar situation is all of the jobs that became 100% remote during COVID and also added on that they were never going back to the building. We're going to be remote forever. All you need is a laptop and you could go work at home. You don't need to do any of this stuff ever again. You know, no more commutes, no more going into the office. You could do it all on your software and on Zoom calls and you'll be completely fine. And then people will get hired for that job because it sounds pretty good, you know, a lot easier than having to actually go to work. And then when all the mask mandates were lifted and everything went back to normal, they just kind of backpedaled and said, no, actually, you do need to go on site. And if you were hired for a remote job and lived across the country, you were almost forced to go move to wherever that corporate office building was in that radius so you could start going to work a few times a week or you would get fired. Like there are countless stories like that all the time. And it's just, I don't understand how they're allowed to say, you know, it's 100% remote. We'll never be going back. And then within like 2 years, they're like, oh, never mind, actually. You need to come back to the building or you're fired. Like, I don't understand how that's legal. Now, the irony of being a cog in the machine of a lot of these corporations, this job listing actually wants you to be a robot. So I thought that was pretty funny. Data entry, 18 to 25 an hour full time. You are not an emotionally or bubbly person. You are considered almost cold and robotic. So especially for data entry, I guess they want some sort of AI person before AI could actually do it. So if you're too happy or too positive, I guess just too social in general, this job is not for you. I don't even know how you could have some of these listings up. I mean, same with the next one. This one seems pretty normal. I mean, like the age over 24, I guess they can't have anybody right out of college, but then the end of it is good looking. I feel like this kind of stuff you're probably not allowed to put in the job description. I don't understand how people do it. I mean, we could keep going with the seems to be probably not allowed to be put on job descriptions, but here, optimize the algorithm, willing to commit 40 to 70 hours per week. So that is pretty crazy. I mean, at least full time. Can score 150 plus on an IQ test. Are you allowed to weed out people based on their IQ on this? I mean, maybe you're allowed to weed them out because you're allowed to weed out degrees and the years of experience and whatever hoops that they want you to jump through just to be able to have the opportunity to work for them. I guess if you're not a genius and are able to score a 150 plus in front of them on an IQ test, you're not allowed to work here either. We have another comment from you guys. Fast-paced environment is code for nobody communicates, meets deadlines, or is held accountable. So we'll dump it on you 1 hour before it's due. That could also mean that they had recent people getting fired, and instead of hiring new people, they just dispersed all the work from the previous employee to everybody else. So now everybody has to have a fast-paced environment because you legitimately have to do more work than you're supposed to. And here we have a video that seems like it would be an outlier, but I've actually heard this several times with different people's experiences, comments online, Reddit posts, full-blown articles, and again, just shows the insanity of the job market right now.
A worker was fired for not having their mother's death certificate soon enough to prove they needed time off. I know American work culture isn't exactly known for being kind, warm, and fuzzy, but come on. When it comes to something life-altering like the death of a parent, you'd expect them to show a little heart, right? Not for this person who had the misfortune of working for a company that offers no bereavement benefits whatsoever. But this person's boss took things to a whole new level by not only requiring that they prove their mom had just passed of cancer, but that they do so on a deadline, no pun intended, that was impossible to meet. Just 3 days to submit a death certificate or be fired. But actually getting a death certificate in hand can take up to 2 weeks. So the worker was left scrambling, trying to compile other documentation instead, which of course their heartless employer refused to accept. So now on top of grieving their mom, they're also reeling from being fired from their job. According to the Society for Human Resources Management, about 90% of American companies offer some kind of bereavement leave, but most of those offerings are woefully inadequate. Advocacy organizations say that 80% of companies offer 5 days or less, with the standard being 3 days for the death of an immediate family member and a single solitary day for literally everyone else, which is totally out of touch with reality. Many relationships in our lives are just as close, if not closer, than immediate family. And experts at advocacy organizations say most people require at least 3 weeks to recover from the death of someone close to them. If we're being honest, these policies are kind of barbaric. And for bosses to take things a step further and force their employees to prove they're not lying about someone having died is sadistic. Nothing that gets done in a workplace is more important than people's loved ones.
I do think it's pretty funny that these companies will work you to death, and if you do legitimately die, you're only worth maybe 1, 3, or 5 days off of work. It sounds like I'm just making this up, like I'm lying. I have heard of this experience from a lot of different people online, so this isn't a one-off crazy story that made headlines. Here we could go back to the very creepy listings. Again, almost seems like it would be on Craigslist, and then that would be the one where you would end up getting kidnapped. But minimum requirements. Due to current company setup, my client is ideally looking for a female candidate under 30 for this particular role. I wonder why. It's very confused, baffling to me. If you were going to be creepy and have all of these odd requirements, wouldn't you just weed out the candidates without legitimately putting this online for everybody to see? Wouldn't you at least try to be smart with it? I guess not. This one's really funny. You've been selected for an opportunity. Your experience as an autopsy assistant at the Weinberg Center for Forensic Scientists stood out to me when I came across your profile on LinkedIn. I guess this must happen a whole ton to people on LinkedIn. We're hiring at Moe's Southwest Grill. I think you could be a great fit. This person is an autopsy assistant. And they're like, yeah, you can make food for people at our fast food chain, right? It'd probably be a good fit. Here we have another comment from one of you guys. Lost my corporate accounting job and I haven't been able to get any in 6 months. Having to go back into the Marines just to survive. The job market is cooked. Now, I especially thought that this was pretty surprising because I have seen some articles that accounting jobs are actually exploding right now. There's a lot of demand for it. So maybe this guy's location is pretty poor, but I know that a lot of the big, like a corporate accounting firms, like the really, really big ones, you can make a lot of money on. But even something where I've seen in passing that maybe the job demand is actually pretty solid for this particular niche doesn't mean that everybody's going to get a job. This person had to go back into the Marines just because he couldn't find an accounting job. This one we have have a whole thread for how crazy this has gotten. So these are the reviews for jobs online at, whatever company and whatever position. But the first one is 5 stars, perfect, the millennial dream job. Great atmosphere, professional development, blah, 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 whatever. All the buzzwords to make it seem like it's actually a good place to work. And then cons, hard to think of cons. And then non-traditional hours/schedule, which is a code word for you're not just going to be working a 9 to 5. And then we could keep going down the thread. Don't believe the PR. Talk to previous employees before accepting an offer here. Don't recommend, negative outlook, disapproves of CEO. Very high pressure to post good public reviews on social media platforms. So it is actually fake reviews like you'd see on Amazon products that are terrible, and then they're just a million of the robots saying, yes, 5 stars, perfect item. So they're doing it at this company. It appears that in order to keep overhead down, they are focusing on only hiring new college grads or people with only a couple years experience. So they're taking advantage of the terrible job market and everybody getting out of college and not being able to get a job, that they're luring them into this company to be able to pay them very low, way less than anybody with experience. But these college kids will still take it because it's better than no job. And then it's actually a nightmare. Here's another one, F, doesn't recommend. Hopefully you don't have friends or family because you can just cut them out when you start, because this company will consume your life. 12-hour shifts, 5 days a week, no breaks, and 30-minute lunches. You can see a ton more benefits designed to make you work more. They hire a bunch of people just to try to make sure company maintains a great culture. So the turnover is very high. Employees are treated like machines, 7:30 to 5:30. Culture makes up for a lower salary. I think what's most important to a lot of jobs for people is how much they're getting paid.
Do not apply for this job. Unless you want to be a customer success manager that is unpaid, it's remote at least, you have to work so many other jobs I will show you in the job description. There's been 9 applicants in 46 minutes since it's been posted. Let's get into all the red flags and all of this is so crazy. Okay, this first paragraph of the job description, I'm seeing a lot of buzzwords. I'm seeing blockchain, I'm seeing AI, I'm seeing B2B. In this last sentence of the paragraph, it says, we prefer someone who desires to learn everything to master growing a successful SaaS brand quickly. That sounds like a co-founder, not a CSM. And then the second paragraph is what's in it for you. So you basically get to do everything a senior CSM does, but you will be working with top account and industry leaders, but not get paid. Let's get into requirements. So first, 0 to 3 years. You know that they're looking for 3. You should be an outstanding account manager, by the way, but work for free. And then I'm not going to bore you with every other bullet point, but every other bullet point is like a very professional customer success job responsibility. These perks up here mean nothing, and there's a typo, but it says learning everything there is to grow a successful AI SaaS product quickly. If you need to move fast, it is a toxic environment, let me tell you. Industry, just all of these. You'll be working in all of these industries. Pick one. Pick 3. Why did you list every buzzword? Last but not least, the job functions is the best. Job functions. 3 separate jobs: a customer success manager, a customer support member, and a social media marketing person. All unpaid. Have some questions and want to apply? Well, since this is a stealth opportunity, I will not be able to share too many details about it up front either. Sorry. I'm telling you, we are going to see the craziest stuff in the job market this year. The tech industry has seen better days. Our workforce and employment rate has seen better days. I urge you, please be careful of predatory stuff like this. Your value, your time, who you are, is worth getting paid for.
I mean, not only is it crazy to get unpaid for an actual job like that, but of course all the unpaid internships for mentors and being able to get experience. We've seen comments from people in previous videos saying they got a bachelor's degree and then they also had an internship. And then when they went to go look for a company, the internship didn't count as experience to them. They wanted legitimate people who were already working, even if you did have an internship for years. So a lot of that just doesn't even count anymore either. Preferred qualifications, a master's degree, and your salary will be $15 an hour. So you got a master's and you're able to make $30,000 a year. That seems pretty worth it. Here we have one that seems very common with the artist, illustrator, graphic designer type of jobs now. They need 1,000 designs from somebody. They'll provide ideas, screenshots of things, and you'll be expected to come up with an original design off of that idea, 1,000 of them, and they'll pay $4 per design. Would expect 4 to 5 designs a day. They'll own any rights to the design and it will be commercially free. They want an original design that cost them $4 that they can then put on anything. I mean, on clothing, maybe on websites to be able to be sold, anything to be able to make more money. But after all of this, you'll make about $4,000. And I can't even fathom how much money they'll probably be able to make off of that if anybody actually decided to do this. Here we have another one that you're supposed to work for free. We are looking for a motivated, hardworking, and outdoor-loving au pair for 3 months. 40 hours a week, and then all, with the room, everything that you'd get if you were an actual au pair. Based in Wanaka, New Zealand. Don't know where that is, but New Zealand. Outdoor adventure playground and lake and 2 ski fields. Amazing location. So that's it. That's what they're trying to sell you. You'll have a vacation. You'll be able to live in a beautiful area, even though you'll be working for them the entire time, not actually getting paid. You'll be looking after a 9-year-old, 7-year-old, 1.5, and a baby due in September. So 4 children. Workload intensity will vary depending on the week, and a Springer Spaniel, so a dog as well. And then at the very end, I think that's funny, daily hours may vary slightly. So maybe that 40-hour work week will most likely be a lot more, especially if you have to deal with 4 kids and a dog. But at least you get to live in New Zealand, right? Here we have another comment from one of you guys. Posting an nanny job on Facebook in and of itself sounds dangerous. Sounds like you're inviting someone to rob you, because any of those nanny or au pair type of jobs that are listed on Facebook are almost always insane. I don't get why people have the balls to be able to demand so much for so little pay. I mean, we were seeing crazy stuff where it was like almost full-time level. You had to completely take care of kids, bring them to like swim practices and make meals for them, and it would be like $70 a week. It was completely embarrassing, and people will just post that up nonstop on Facebook thinking that it's just okay.
1 year ago today, I found the worst job application I've ever seen. Something so bad that I saved it to my phone, posted it on Facebook so it'd come up in my memories a year later. This management level role not only wanted to know my SAT or ACT scores, which, not to date myself, but I took my SATs in 1999. The SAT's not even out of 1600 anymore, I don't think, right? Which means they knew someone too old was going to be filling this form out. But they also like to know how I am equipped to handle a fast pace and long hours at a rapidly growing, ambitious startup. Look, startup culture is my thing. I've worked at lots of startups, but you don't have to just scream out you're never going to get to stop working here. But just in case you did make it this far, you also get a chance to demonstrate your intelligence to them. Not in an interview, but just letting them to know something that demonstrates your intelligence. I thought this was clever. I mean, I just typed this in. I didn't do the application. I wasn't that desperate of a pick-me candidate yet. I got there, but not yet a year ago. What's funny is I saw this job recently posted a year later, too. Big shock, whoever you hired didn't stay long.
And then these companies will get mad for job hopping or just high turnover rates when they have ridiculous stuff like this. Oh man. We have one possible employer. We got to read it. If you have an offer from any other company in hand, please do not waste my time by sending your CV. I'm not interested to play games like haggle for vegetables in I don't know why that was blurred out. And if you're doing this, then I hope you burn in hell, because you will not join a good man who has given you an offer and is waiting for you. Of course, it goes without saying that this is a highly unprofessional and can be called many dirty names. So this guy's losing it. Clearly, English is not the first language, but I guess it's completely okay for employers to get hundreds and hundreds of applicants on one single job listing, and then they'll weed out the absolute top candidate for it and will lowball them into oblivion. But if you actually have multiple job offers for your specific skill sets, this guy wants you to go burn in hell. We believe that skills don't come in X years of experience and value individuals' potential. We care deeply on how we develop games and collaborate and improve continuously. Background skills, minimum of 2 years of professional game development experience. I was never into game development, even though I played video games, but I'm very glad that I wasn't. It seems like game development companies, especially now in the past 5 years, maybe even 10 years, have become just unbearable. You need some sort of absolute deep passion, and not even just for playing video games or video games in general, just the amount of work that you have to do because all of these games now have set deadlines to come out before Christmas or before another competitor's games come out so we could get more sales, and it becomes increasingly more unpolished as the years go by when these games keep getting released. It doesn't escape the fact that you need to grind out like 80 hours a week. And as soon as it's done, it's all put together and out to the public, you have to immediately start making another game again. It's just a cycle that is definitely not worth it to me, because it's not like all of these developers are making $250,000 a year doing it. That market to me seems completely cooked. At this point, I feel like people are posting fake job posts for memes. And I mean, I've definitely seen my fair share of memes for job listings, but I feel like we could see that in a different light with all of the ghost listings. We've already talked about it previously with either ghost listings just trying to weed out maybe people who are super overqualified, and then they could lowball them and get a really good deal on a new employee, basically. Like it's almost a commodity. Or it'll just be scams. It seems like every single company wants your data for something, for some reason, whether they're using it themselves or they're trying to sell it off to somebody to advertise to you better or whatever. But people will try to do that to get information from you, or as far as Social Security, I mean, completely try to steal your identity, and they're trying to take advantage of it because of how desperate people are and constantly trying to apply for Indeed jobs or anything online now. It's very, very dangerous now.
So I got a job offer rescinded today. Last week I was given a job offer for a job I was kind of interested in. I'll be honest with you. It didn't sound great, but it had promise. So before I get into that, a little bit about me. I have my benefits through another carrier on my own. So it's not like I would need their health, dental, or vision. So because of that, the offer they gave me financially was within their range, which was $20 to $25 an hour. They offered me 22, and I countered for 24 because you're not going to have to worry about paying the exorbitant amount of benefits for me as part of my benefits package. So on top of that, I noticed when they sent me what they were offering me, they were offering 1 week of vacation, 40 hours. After the 2-year mark in my 3rd year, may I use it? So I'd have to go over 2 years without any time off. And when I mean no time off, you get 6 holidays a year. 6. And I kept thinking, I can't go 2 years without a break. I'm a goddamn adult, and I need to have doctor's appointments and take care of things normal adults do. I can't devote my entire life to a job like this. That's how I got sick in the first place, a place that wouldn't even let me go to a doctor's appointment. So the work-life balance fucking sucks. So I counter, thinking it's a reasonable counter offer. I'm within the range of pay, and I'm asking for 2 weeks vacation after the first year, which honestly, I understand if people don't get vacation, and I'm really sorry, but I am more on a professional level. So when you're offering me salary, I know I'm saying hourly, but they're offering me a straight salary. It wouldn't technically be hourly, but what I was asking for was still within their range that they were willing to pay. You can't expect somebody to go 2 years without a break. It's fucking ludicrous. So let me move over, and this was the lovely email I got today, which I wouldn't even gotten if I didn't email him and ask, hey, did you think about my counteroffer? He said he was going to get back to me yesterday. He really pretty much ghosted me. And on top of everything, this job was a newly formed position that they didn't have any real idea how they wanted this job to go, which is usually a terrible sign. They don't know what they want, so they'll just expect the person to do everything. And on top of that, they expected everyone to eat lunch together every day. No, I want my hour or half hour away from my coworkers, thanks. And the other red flag I saw was there was no office desk space for this position. The only thing available was a reception desk. So in the past, when I've seen that and that has occurred, I've also ended up being the receptionist. Okay, so right here, 2 full years of employment starts day 1 of year 3. Also, you'll notice you never accrue anymore. Most companies, most good companies, you might get a year or a week after your first year. You'll get 2 after your second. You might build as you go. this is no incentive for somebody to stay. I was talking about this with someone and they said, yeah, the reason they probably do this is nobody stays past year 3 and they don't want to pay the PTO. So all in all, this company really showed its true colors. I'm actually thrilled they rescinded it. I do have 2 other offers I'm sifting through. So this one, it might have been the best choice, but now this just really isn't worth it. You know, they sit there and they go, oh, no one wants to work. Well, nobody wants to work for shit like this. This isn't a benefits package. For me, not taking your health, dental, vision, there really isn't much other than the actual pay because I'm working for 2 years without a break.
So I guess it's expected to be able to work with no break for 2 years at that company. And then you'll be able to get 1 week off. Solid. This one I think is funny. Just at the beginning of it. Please, when you apply, make sure you are currently working in a job. We will not entertain candidates not working. All of these employers get super mad at job hoppers and say it's the worst thing ever. You know, you're not utilizing your job to the best of your abilities and finding ways to grow, even though it's a marginal pay raises at best, wasting years of your life. And it could possibly be much better to just go to a different job completely right away and be able to make way more than sitting there getting small pay raises incrementally. But this one specifically wants you to job hop. If you don't have a job right now, then they won't even consider it. All right, man, you got to make up your mind. After careful consideration, we regret to inform you your application has been unsuccessful. Due to a large volume of applications we receive, it's not possible to provide individual feedback, so they won't even give a reason why, really. The next sentence, if you could spare a few moments, we would really know we would like to hear your feedback on them. Now, this is one of them that's just an immediate red flag, and you see this all over now. You may be a candidate for this role if you love financial operations. Yes, that's everybody's passion in life is financial operations. Okay, you wake up excited to diving into details, acting as a role model for your team. Like, even the person who must have wrote this for the company, like, you wouldn't be cringing at writing this. You're excited to get out of bed every day and see what you could tackle. You're a self-starter with a creative energy and passion for leadership. You understand that being a role model means rolling up your sleeve and getting the work done. Get the thrill out of managing complex inquiries. You're competitive with yourself, always striving to be the best member of the team. You desire to be a trusted advisor for both your internal and external team. Now, this immediately is the same story as you're going to be working way more than you actually think, and you're not going to be getting paid enough, but, you know, it's because you love financial operations and you're a self-starter. It's fine. It's definitely worth all the stress you're about to endure. Here we have one of your comments that I thought was very interesting. I work in hiring in the tech sector. We recently had several companies come through that seem to have all the time in the world. They go through this interviewing process with multiple candidates in multiple stages, only to decide to lean on their current operations and bounce the weight across the current team. So again, like I said earlier, instead of actually hiring new people to be able to take that workload, they'll just take all the employees that are still left, make them do everything else the previous employee actually did for their job, and then they don't have to hire somebody and do another salary and all the benefits. They could just make everybody else overworked. The worst we've had so far, a client did the same process with 4 people before backing out. Initial interview, 30 minutes. Initial coding assessment, 1.5 to 2 hours. Second interview with upper management, another 30 minutes to an hour. And then second live coding assessment, 3 to 4 hours. Around 6 to 7 hours of unpaid time the candidates did just for them to cut costs on their own operation. Forgot to mention the pay is $25 an hour for 7 to 8 years of experience. So for almost a decade worth of coding experience, you could make $50,000 a year. Wow. If you have any experiences, leave it in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.